This superset might just save your gains, bro. Pay attention, implement the fucking tips I present here, and the title of the video may not be clickbait whatsoever. Now, two of the most common problems people have in, after, and out of the gym are their lackluster ab development, as well as their string cheese fucking yogurt tier lower back strength. Now, before we get started, this is not original. Obviously, I did not invent the exercises. This content is pretty much synthesized all from Bald Omni Man, Hersoviak, and Alex Leonidas. But I am the first person who I've seen who has fucking implemented, supersetting these two specific movements in the way that I have. The superset itself is GHD sit-ups and reverse hyperextensions. Okay? Now, if your gym does not have a reverse hyper machine, unlucky. You can do fucking regular back extensions. It serves a similar, though not the same purpose. If your gym does not have a GHD for the sit-ups, decline sit-ups work wonderfully for this. It's just the GHD is chattier, and the reverse hyper machine, whichever form you have it in, is pretty magical in what it does. Now, let's get into the execution. For the GHD sit-ups, we're going to keep this short and sweet, not fucking 20-minute biomechanical breakdown or anything. We're just going to talk about how to do each of these to maximize what we're trying to get out of these. What are we trying to get out of these? Now, the reverse hypers, we're trying to fucking rehab the lower back, right? If you've done a bunch of squatting, I guess an explanation is warranted. If you've done a bunch of low bar squatting, bunch of heavy hip hinges, your lower back may be feeling a tiny bit fucked, may want to go on strike, or it may just not be strong enough to do those things in the first place. If that is you, implementing this movement will traction the lower back. As Alex Leonidas said, it is a great video about the movement. It will send a bunch of nice spinal fluid who will do their job and who will fucking fix up all that shit for you if done consistently over time. And it may help alleviate a bunch of pain. I know for a fact that after I do reverse hypers, I just feel good. Like, not even just in the lower back. I just feel like fucking confident, spry, young lad. And then before the reverse hypers, I feel like fucking dehydrated SpongeBob picture. Now, the GHD sit-up is a movement that we want to take to failure often because, we're using it as a mass builder for the abs so we can fucking brace better, so we can do all our cool compounds better, and quite frankly, so we don't have to be worried about bulking, right? Because if someone doesn't train their abs and they gain like fucking 10 pounds of fat, oh, woe is me, that shit's gonna fade, and they're gonna have the Alex Eubank syndrome, where it's like they're just afraid to go up in body weight, right? If you train your abs, keep those bitches fucking strong and chunky, right? That's not gonna happen. You can gain 10 pounds of fat. They're still gonna be there, visible, maybe a tiny bit more blurry, but very much present. So, the execution for these movements are that the GHG sit-up, we're gonna want a slow negative, right? The thing that Bald Man posts on his Instagram story often is, that the negatives on that, you want to be so slow that even if you speed up the video, they still look slow, right? So a couple of seconds, like that 3 to 5 seconds on the negative is really good. Curl up like a shrimp. This is a rare revival fitness W, where he tells you to curl up like a shrimp, and therefore you can stop training your fucking hip flexors and instead actually train your abs. So don't keep your back straight on the top of the concentric. You want to be curled up again like a shrimp, and then straighten out on the way down so that in the bottom you're ideally parallel, and then your back is straight. This is the most challenging position, but it will cause you to grow the most, and then you fucking curl up on the way up. Beautiful. Now, the reverse hypers, you want to incorporate a bit more cheating, actually a lot more cheating if you want. You want to swing to get the momentum started, because in my opinion, the first rep, maybe I'm just inexperienced with this, but so far every time I've done reverse hypers, the first rep is always the hardest to do, at least strict. Once you get it started, then it kind of does the fucking pendulum effect, and then you can just grind through very easily. Not very easily, but you can grind through very reliably. Now, what I mean by grind through, the good thing about the reverse hyper machine, not machine, like the actual fucking, like hammer strength, or like the one that acts like a pendulum basically, is that you can choose when you engage with the lift. You can pretty much engage no musculature whatsoever and just have the tiniest bit of fucking movement, and then let the swinging mechanic take care of the shit for you, and that'll still have some good benefits for your lower back. But in the way that I'm suggesting doing these, you want to feel the rep on the way down and make sure that you engage enough Like, you fucking engage enough control as to get it all the way up. And, as I said, feel it on the way down, right? Full range of motion is important here because, you could really squeeze, you can really go all the way to the top, which is really cool. Or you can just let it kind of swing, do its thing, which is less cool, at least for our purposes here. As far as programming goes, for volume, you can do these for pretty high sets relatively, and pretty high frequency because they're not that high impact and they just fucking feel good, right? 3 to 5 sets, 10 to 20 reps on the GHD sit-up, that's an amazing ab rep range, and 20 to 30 on the reverse hyper, very high because you're still doing cheating and just enough, you're engaging with the exercise just enough to get the most benefit out of it, like I said in the previous slide. Frequency, at the end of a lower and or full body day, if you're running it 3 days a week full body, I wouldn't do it on all 3 days of the week, but like 1 or 2, and then do your different variation of fucking lower back movement or like an ab isolation. But I would isolate the abs every day. Or if you're doing like an upper lower, putting these at the end of a lower body day, both days will be fucking wonderful and amazing. Intensity, you want to go 0 to 1 reps in reserve on the GHD setup. On the GHD setup, it's mostly mental, right? You really do have to get yourself in the right mindset and be willing to commit to those last few reps, because that is where the growth happens. And you just have to, like, you see results very slowly with that lift. It's like that. It's one of those where you don't add 5 pounds a week, right? Like you would with a deadlift, for instance. You had like maybe a rep a week if you're lucky, and sometimes you like stall and you match your performance. But it's when you put in your work and you fucking look back over the past year that you realize, holy shit, I've made a bunch of progress over this past year. And then you look at the difference in your physique and you're like, holy shit, I'm like 20 pounds heavier and I still have abs. It's like, that's why, because you've been putting in that work. It's like investing, right? You don't see the results right away. You just have to trust the process, even though it's hard. So you go 0 to 1 reps in the reserve. Do like a triple progression, right? Double progression with like reps and weight, obviously. And then the triple progression part is clean up your form. Because you can't always, sometimes you have to like maybe cheat how low you go down a bit, and then the next week you clean that up, and then you progress that way, because you can't always rely on linear progression with such a fucking small movement, right? And as for intensity on the reverse hyper, for our how the fuck do you say that? For rehabilitation purposes, just get a gnarly lower back pump to where you just feel fucking great and you feel alive, right? This is the difference between a mass builder like the GHD setup and a rehab movement. Like for example, if you had elbow tendonitis, it'd be like band push downs. You don't like, obviously you wouldn't go to like 0 reps in reserve on that. And in the similar vein, you obviously do want to progress on it, but it's not as important that you go all out fucking balls to, what's that expression? Balls to the wall. Yeah, it's not that important that you go that hard to failure. You just want to get a gnarly lower back bump, get the tractioning effect, and engage with the movement enough to get the benefit out of it. Just fucking feel the negative a tiny bit. You can still do a lot of swinging action, don't have to be super controlled, but just make sure you get that full range of motion, feel the negative a tiny bit, and yeah, you'll be golden. Oh shit, I forgot to plug my product. Well, I do have a product. Usually I have a slide at the end that's plugging it. It's a novice program. If you liked what you saw here, if you thought that these principles would serve you well in your training journey and you're someone who's just beginning, go check that out. It'll be the first link in the description, other than the hilarious, description title that I give, not title, the hilarious description that I put in the video, and then I'll have the tags under that to like get more views, hopefully. Not hopefully, definitely. The tags I put in my videos are always fucking top notch, which is why we have, an amazingly fast growing channel. Okay, enough yapping. I'm done yapping for the day. Thank you very much. Implement these tips. And yeah, this superset might just save your gains. Let's fucking go.